One man, 27 identities, and a web of lies so massive it changed the course of World War II. This is the story of the spy who earned the highest military honors from both the Allies and the Axis at the exact same time. History is usually written by the victors, but it is often shaped by the shadows. In the early 1940s, the fate of the free world didn't just rest on the shoulders of generals and kings. It rested on a small, unassuming Spaniard who had no formal training in espionage, no government backing, and a burning hatred for totalitarians of every stripe. His name was Juan Pujol García, but history would remember him as Garbo, the greatest double agent to ever live.
Born in Barcelona in 1912, Juan Pujol García's early life was defined by the brutal, polarized politics of Spain. During the Spanish Civil War, he was forced to serve in both the Republican and nationalist armies, seeing the cold cruelty of dictatorship on both sides. By the time the war ended, Pujol had come to a singular conclusion. He despised the Nazis and the fascists above all else. He decided that he couldn't just be a bystander.
When World War II broke out in 1939, Pujol approached the British embassy in Madrid to offer his services. The British, however, weren't interested. They turned him down 3 separate times. Most people would have gone home, but Juan Pujol García decided if the British wouldn't take him as a spy, he would simply become one first and then force them to listen.
His plan was as bold as it was insane. He contacted the Abwehr, German military intelligence, posing as a fanatical pro-Nazi Spanish official. The Germans, desperate for intelligence from inside the United Kingdom, fell for it. They gave him a crash course in spying, invisible ink, and £600 in cash, telling him to move to London and start recruiting a network.
There was just one problem. Pujol didn't have a visa for England, and he didn't speak a word of English. Undeterred, he moved to Lisbon, Portugal. He sat in a library with a map of the UK, a copy of the Blue Guide to England, and outdated train timetables. From a hotel room, he began writing reports pretending they were coming from the heart of London, based entirely on his imagination and newsreels.
This was the birth of his ghost network. Pujol began inventing sub-agents, 27 different identities in total. There was a KLM pilot, a Venezuelan in Glasgow, and a Welsh nationalist. He gave each distinct personalities and even killed some off for realism. The Germans were so moved by the death of one fictional agent that they actually paid a pension to the agent's widow.
Back in London, British intelligence was baffled by intercepted German radio messages containing detailed but wildly inaccurate information about troop movements. They finally tracked the source to Lisbon. When they realized it was the same Spaniard they had rejected, they brought him to London in 1942. He was given the code-named Garbo because they felt he was the greatest actor in the world.
Under MI5, Garbo's network became a masterpiece of deception. The goal was to tell the Germans the truth, but too late for them to act. By reporting events just as they happened, he built incredible trust. The Germans thought Garbo was their most reliable asset, because his reports were consistently verified by the news after it was too late.
Everything led to one moment: D-Day. The success of the Normandy invasion depended entirely on surprise. Operation Fortitude was the mission to convince Hitler that the real invasion was coming to Pas-de-Calais, not Normandy. Pujol flooded German intelligence with reports of a massive, fictional 1st United States Army group stationed in southeast England.
This army didn't exist. It was made of inflatable tanks, wooden airplanes, and empty tents. But according to Pujol's reports, it was the primary invasion force. On the night of June 6, 1944, as paratroopers dropped into Normandy, Pujol sent an urgent message. The Normandy landings were merely a diversion to draw troops away from the real target at Pas-de-Calais.
The deception worked perfectly. Hitler was so convinced that he refused to move his elite divisions to Normandy for 7 critical weeks. By the time the Germans realized the truth, the Allies had established a permanent foothold in Europe. The war was effectively won because of a man with a typewriter and a map.
The ultimate irony came shortly after D-Day. The Germans awarded Pujol the Iron Cross Second Class for his loyalty. Just months later, King George VI awarded him the MBE. He remains one of the few individuals to be decorated by both sides during the conflict.
When the war ended, Pujol faced a dangerous reality. With the help of MI5, he faked his own death in Angola in 1949, claiming he had succumbed to malaria. He vanished from the face of the earth. In reality, he moved to Venezuela, living a quiet life as a teacher and bookstore owner. Even his own children didn't know the truth.
In the 1980s, historian Nigel West tracked him in Caracas. When the world realized the legendary Garbo was still alive, he was brought back to London for the 40th anniversary of D-Day. He finally stood on the beaches of Normandy, the very sands he had protected with his lies, and saw the memorial to the men whose lives he had saved. Juan Pujol García died in 1988. He proved that one individual, armed only with creativity and a relentless moral compass, could defeat a machine of hate. He was the master of an invisible army and the man who turned the tide of history by being the world's most believable liar. Subscribe for more.